Facebook be so hard to use? Well, good evening, America. Good morning, Cambodia. I just thought I would do a little update on what the heck I am doing, and I will take a minute to do that. So, behind me is my wall of gratitude. I'll tip it up and you can see how high it goes. Super cool. Oh, lost my plug. Gotta stay plugged in. Okay, so I live in Cambodia and I work for an organization called Raw Impact. It's an Australian-based organization that is in Cambodia helping do sustainable projects through 3 different areas. And I will see if I can post their website so you can go to it, or you can go to their Facebook page if you want to learn a lot more. And definitely like their Facebook page. I don't know if I can do this. Here we go. I just posted the link. I don't know if it worked. We'll see. But it is 8:30 here. And yeah, so Heather just asked what time it is. It's 8:30. So that should be 8:30 in Texas. If I'm wrong, my bad. It's really hard when you time travel. I don't know if any of you time travel very frequently, but it's really hard knowing what time it is in other places. So, okay, back to what I'm doing. I work for Raw Impact, and I work in the Educate section of Raw Impact. I am the head of Educate, which kind of means I'm like the superintendent. So we have several different schools that we are working in, and I help create teacher in-services for the teachers. We just did one yesterday. We drove out to a village that's about an hour outside of Phnom Penh. The reason it's an hour is because of the traffic in the city. It takes forever to get out of. So we drove about an hour outside of the city, and we did a teacher in service. And we did basically like classroom management tips. There's some pretty good teachers out there already, and just like any teacher, they need encouragement and reminders and tips and ideas. They're local, so it's all local teachers that we work with. Sorry, I should have said that. And so we work with local teachers, and we did an in-service on classroom management, and it was super cool. We had 23 teachers there, which is the biggest we've ever had. It's only our second in-service, but still the biggest we've ever had. And I was really excited about that because that was a lot of teachers. So yeah, it was cool. And it was very exhausting, as is teaching. But the challenges we face are making sure that the stuff we're teaching is culturally appropriate, and that it's so that teachers can understand it and they can figure out how it works. And yeah, so that's what I do once a month. I go out to Jumpa. And the other days, once or twice a week, I'll go out to another school that we work in that's just close by. It's called SALT School, and I work with the principal there, and I help her just figure out how to be a principal, things that we all had to figure out when we became principals, like I was when I was in California. And so I meet with her a couple times a week, and we also meet with her teachers. So I work with someone named Louise, or Lou, and she taught, this is a side note, in Australia it's kindy, then prep, then first grade. So she worked with pre-K. TK? She worked with TK in Australia, and I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, so the teachers. So she works and she goes out and meets with the teachers 3 times a week to mentor them, and is mentoring them. So she's meeting with them in the classroom, she's observing, she's modeling, she's doing extra classes on the outside just to go over new ideas, because these teachers have never been to school for teaching, and so it's sort of on-the-job training. It's kind of like having or doing your teacher's student teaching, just always. So yeah, that's kind of that bit. So I go out there a couple times a week, and then I'm in the office doing research sometimes on what other NGOs have done working in the communities with schools, because we work with another community up north that we're wanting to develop a program on helping their school and education. And so I just do some research for that. Sometimes I do research on lesson plans for the schools, different things like that. Sometimes I meet with people and talk to them. Okay. So my other part that I really like about my job is so I get to go on team trips when groups come over, which is so fun. Another reason I love my job, because when team trips come over, for example, a high school or a university or a church or a group, when they come over, I get to help lead the trip. So I either help leader maybe, or I do logistics, which is where I just pay for things and make sure that tuk-tuks arrive on time and other things like that. But I get to go on the trip. So a group comes over and I get to go with them everywhere for the 2 weeks they're here or however long they're here. So this is exciting. Little thumbs up, keep going fast. Okay, so let me tell you about team trips. Those are so cool. I'll tell you about it again, but let me post it. I think I posted it on my page before, but you can come on a trip. They have an open trip called the One Project, which is a Christian group that is coming over from Australia and from America. So look it up, the One Project and Raw Impact, and you can come, and it's the first 2 weeks of July. So come. Yes, you will love it. So what you do is you arrive in country, and you have your first day is a cultural day. So we take you to Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum, which is it's a high school here in Phnom Penh, or used to be a high school, that during the Khmer Rouge with Pol Pot, they turned it into an interrogation center. And so now that we want to help inform other people things that have happened, so they've turned it into a museum, and it's very real. It's, I think, important to go to and see so you can understand what this country has gone through. So this interrogation museum, or this interrogation center, randomly picked people and accused them of espionage, which it's very horrific. Definitely, if you come over, I can give you a lot of resources so you can learn about this stuff before you get here, so you'll have a better understanding. But anyway, so for the cultural day, we take you there to the Genocide Museum, and then we also take you out to one of the killing fields that they have also turned into a museum. Not a museum, but like a memorial. And there's a beautiful memorial in the middle of the fields there. But we take you there so you can understand what the country has been through in their past. But then we also take you to the RAW office. So Maria posted the One Project. Good. Yeah, come. So anyways, we take you, after we do those things, we also take you to our office so you can see where we work. You can meet the staff. We have local staff and we have expat staff. It's a huge combination of the two, and you can meet them all and love them all because they are all spectacular, and I love them all. And so you can meet Stray Mom and Nam and okay, so one time we had a Ling, a Lin, a Lee, and a Lou. There were a lot of L's. Now we just have Ling, Lee, and Lou. Anyway, so you can come and you'll meet them and see what we do at the office. We have some products that are super cool, like some really cool pillows, and amazing backpacks that Ling makes, and her partner in crime, Lee, she also helps make them. And they just started, well, I don't know if I should say this, but they're going to make cup cozies. At least I hope they do. And they're super cool. So trust me, if we make those, I'll be bringing lots back to America. Or you can just come back and get one, or come over and get one. Anyways, so then you come to our office, And then we also take you to She Rescue, which is an NGO that works with sex trafficking and rescuing girls. So other NGOs do the raids and the busts on the brothels, but then She Rescue takes the girls and helps get them back into a safe place. So they check out their homes and see if they can go back there. They help teach them a trade. They help teach the families a trade, so that way the families don't feel desperate enough to have to sell their children. So it's a beautiful NGO as well that we get to hang out with a lot and stuff. So you get to meet that office as well. So then that's the first day, cultural day. Then the next 3 or 4 days, depending on your group, then the next 3 or 4 days, you go out to Taskor Village, which is where Salt School is. And that place is amazing. You'll get to help build a bamboo house. And these bamboo houses, are incredible. It's literally all bamboo, except for the bolts, the nails, and cement. But these bamboo houses are incredible. They just started building them last August. And it's very... good, Maria posted She Rescue, so you can check it out. It's super cool. So these bamboo houses, they just started building last August, and they have learned so much about the bamboo. But it's like Swiss Family Robinson out there. Those houses are beautiful, and the boys or the guys who are the builders on our team have really just taken it and run with it. So we have expat builders or foreigners, missionaries or volunteers or service people, whatever you want to call them. And we also have a local team of builders, which if you go to Raw Impact's Facebook page, they just posted one about Mr. Top. And the temperature in July, Karen, is not nearly as hot as it is right now. It's the beginning of the rainy season, so it's not raining every day, but it's a lot cooler than April and March, which is like being inside your blow dryer. Not fun. So come in July. So anyways, you go out to the build site, and you'll help build a bamboo house for a local family that we are working with to relieve from debt slavery. So they're in very dire circumstances, these families that we have interviewed, we've assessed, and we've put contracts together to make sure that they're wanting to stay and learn and grow with us. So maybe their house has fallen into the river, maybe they are sitting on government property and the government's kicking them off, maybe they don't even have a house, or maybe they're in debt because they had to help their child who was sick, or maybe they're in debt because their house fell into the river. So we work with different families and different things. And on a side note, you can read a lot more about those families on the new campaign that we're putting out called Every Piece Matters 2.0. I think that's the name of it. But it'll be coming out this week, I'm pretty sure, if it hasn't already. I have to double check on that. But I'll be posting it on my page, and you can read every story about the family. You can understand what their parents do for a living, about their children. You can see a photo, and you can really get to know the family. So those are the families we're helping by building, my leg went numb, by building bamboo houses. Betty wants to know how you became involved with RAW. I got involved because Troy and Nick, the founders, 3 years ago, or 3.5 years ago, came to the States and went to a Christian conference, the One Project in Seattle, and they met a friend of mine who's a teacher, and then she introduced me to the organization, and so that's how I got to know them, which is cool because they're an Australian NGO, and I'm the only American, which is a big culture shock. So that's that bit. So then it's back to the trips. You're on site 3 days, and then my favorite part of the entire thing is the last night you're in Taskor Village. You get to stay with a family. So we break the groups up into groups of 4. And, Every Piece Matters is up. Yay! 2.0. They've been working so hard on this one. I'm very proud of it and everyone who's been working on it. So good job, everyone. Check it out. 2.0, all the stories, all the families. It's over 100 families that we're working with, and it's just beautiful. So much hard work. And Donnie, our social worker, she's Khmer, has been working really hard. Tessa, one of my flatmates, was telling me that she's like practically a private investigator to make sure she can find the families that we're working with, because sometimes they move or their house, something happens and they have to move. And so anyways, things like that. So anyways, the last night you're in the village, or that you're here at Taskor, you stay overnight in the village, which is super cool, because we take you to the market and we give you a certain amount of money and we say, okay, buy food for your group that's from like the one project or whatever, and buy food for your family that you're staying with, and you need to provide supper and you need to provide breakfast. And it's not very much money, and you can feed a family on that. So you stay the night in the village, and it's just beautiful. It's my favorite part, because you really get to see a family and figure out what it's like. So that's what you do that night. Then the next day, we load up and we drive about 4 hours to a village in the Karachi province, and there you get to, we stay in Karachi, but we go out to a village called Koki. We found Koki because it was listed as one of the most desperate villages. It's in the red zone for the UN, so it's just meaning that they're the poorest of the poor. And we work out there with gardens, and sometimes we do some housing projects, and that's where I'm going to be working more with the school in the next year to help kids, parents even value it, because if you're at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you're not getting food, why are you going to care about school? If you don't have a job, you're going to send your kids to work, because that's your most basic need. So now that we've helped meet some of those needs, we are going to be able to start looking at education, which is my favorite. So you're out in Karachi or Koki for 2 to 3 days, again, depending on your trip. And then from there, you go to Siem Reap. And in Siem Reap, that's where you get to go to see Angkor Wat, which is so incredibly cool. Definitely, if you want to look up that stuff, National Geographic did an article on it maybe a couple years back, but you can find it online. If you just look up Angkor Wat, National Geographic magazine, it's some interactive stuff, and it's just beautiful because it's older than the pyramids, and it's just so elaborate, and it's beautiful, and it's all carved, and it's just a very big part of Khmer history. Khmer is the word, instead of saying Khmer, it's Khmer. So I think the way I explain it, it's like saying Deutsch instead of German, or Espanol instead of Spanish. So Khmer. So anyways, yeah, you can learn about it, but the part I like the most is it reminds me of how great this country once was. It was all roads led to Angkor Wat, because it was the hub of Southeast Asia. And so it just reminds me that this country can achieve those things again. They have the background, they have the history, they have the DNA. And so even though they have had problems with sex trafficking, and they have problems with the communism and just corruption and just no education, things like that, it just reminds me that they can achieve higher things again, and they can bring themselves out of it, which is a very American viewpoint, I realize, but it's what it is, it's what I think. So anyways, that's the trips, and I get to go on those, and I love going on those. We have 5 happening in September, or something crazy like that, and that's because in Australia, somehow they get a bunch of breaks. So they come over a lot in September, in December, and February, and July. They have a lot of vacations, those Aussies. So yeah, that's the trips, and I realize I probably talked very fast, and that's kind of a little bit of what I get to do. I live in an apartment, and there's a lot of tile, as you can see. There's tile on the floor, tile on the walls, and it's a really high ceiling. I'll just tip it up. Ta-da! Very high ceiling. And there's 3 bedrooms, and each bedroom has a bathroom connected. But get this. This is, I think it's my favorite part because it's so cool. The bathroom is the shower. So there's no shower curtain. Everything is tile, and it's just a big shower head. But the way some of the bathrooms are laid out is you can be sitting on the toilet, washing your hands, and taking a shower all at the same time. It saves so much time. Think about it. Yeah, but it's great because you can splash water and it doesn't matter. Because I always felt bad in Kendra's house. Sorry, Kendra. Whenever I would splash water, like when I'm washing my face, you know, and you're always like, oh, I gotta sop up all the water around. But it didn't matter. I can splash out lots of water. Heather just asked, do the locals mostly like having you there? Me personally, I hope they like having me. Oh, they seem to really be receptive to the help that we're offering. The families that we work with, we assess and make sure that they want us there, that they're willing to work with us. Before I do any big education projects, I definitely assess that and make sure that that the projects are going to work, that the community wants more education, that teachers want more education, and things like that. So I think for that bit they do. I'd like to think the locals like me personally. What's really cool about my name, I wrote about it in my blog, lasagna.blogspot.com, but I wrote about how my name is Khmer. Sanya, I think that's how you say it, Sanya. So if you say it the American way, it's Khmer, and it says promise. So I always introduce myself, and I'm always like, I'm Cambodian, so Saksabai, Knyum Chimo Sanya, Knyum Kampuchi. And then I always get a lot of laughs, so it works. Yes, so back to the bathroom. Isn't that brilliant? I love it. So nice. Heather asks, what about in general, like shopping? Yes, so I live in the Tultampong community area, so it's like in New York how you kind of have boroughs. We sort of have little areas in Phnom Penh. So I live in Tultampong, which is right next to the Tultampong Market, also known as Russian Market. So if you look at a guidebook, you'll find Russian Market in there, and it's a huge tourist spot. So lots of tourists shop there and stuff, so there's heaps of expats. I just live in a really big expat community, so they're used to seeing expats. And I live in Phnom Penh, which is the capital, so they're used to seeing us all the time anyway. But yeah, so they're used to seeing us shopping. And even when we go out to the villages, the Cambodian people are incredibly kind and generous. I've heard stories of friends who were traveling and people would take them out to dinner and just be like, oh, you need food, let me feed you, and then let me continue to drive you to Phnom Penh for free. And they're just so incredibly generous and beautiful that I love. So how do you communicate with them since I speak English? Knyum niye tik tik kamai atran proa beba beba na. In Phnom Penh, it's a toss-up between English and Khmer. What? Right, get off! You're supposed to be at work. So yeah, it's a combination of English and Khmer. In Phnom Penh, you have a lot of younger people who speak English, so that's helpful. In my job, we have a translator who works with us sometimes out at SALT school. So she helps translate, which is really good. And then when we go up to like the other places, we have our local Khmer staff who are in charge of different projects, whether they're in charge of translating or the building or the agriculture projects, they help translate. But then it's really fun to try and learn another language to communicate with them because they appreciate it so much more. And I haven't done as well at learning Khmer because it's kind of hard, and it's not like French or Spanish or even Swahili or Norwegian. So it's been a bit hard, but I'm working on it. Mainly I was working on speaking Australian because honestly, Australian's really hard. They say weird stuff all the time, like Sanga and Servo and a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, so I am learning a bunch of Khmer. I need to work on it some more. I need to keep at it. Sometimes it's hard because I can get away with speaking English so many times. But when we have the trips, when I go out into the village and stuff, then I'm definitely working on it and practicing. And kids are great to help learn a different language because they're very generous and forgiving and understanding. So yeah, it's really nice. Let's see, any other questions? I don't have any pets because I'm gone a bit, and I want to buy a fish, a beta. The Australians, and I think maybe the Khmers call them betas, but the Australians call them fighting fish. But my fish is not going to be a fighting fish. And I haven't bought him yet because I keep putting it off because I'm like, ooh, what if he dies? I don't want him to die. And then I'm like, ooh, but then, anyways. So I want to buy a fish. I'd much rather have a cat or a dog, but you can't when you don't have any extra space. And I live in the city. Let's see, any other questions? Let's see what else I can tell you. There's 3 offices in Australia that we just have. We have one in Perth and Sydney and Brisbane. And they are staffed by volunteers and staffed by employees that we have through RAW. And they get to do things like helping plan all the logistics of the trips that come over. They help run the website. They help put together the EPM 2.0. And they work really hard and get to come over every now and then. A couple times a year, they get to come over on a trip. So it's really nice. Oh, good. Andrea and Heather asked more questions. Andrea asked, how long are you planning to be there? Which is a very good question. I've been here 8 months now. I'm working on my 9th month. And I have a 1-year contract. But I would like to be here a lot longer, simply because it takes forever to get to know a new culture and get to understand anything. So I would like to be here a couple of years for sure. But basically until God says, move it along, little doggy. So I'll be here for a while. I like Maria's question. She asks, what's the stray cat community like? There are strays everywhere. And the cats are so inbred that their tails, instead of being straight, are like bent. Sometimes they're bent just at the tip, sometimes they're bent in the middle, sometimes they're bent twice. So there's a lot of stray cats. And they're beautiful cats. In fact, my friends at church in another town or another like borough over, about a half hour away, they found a kitten, and it is precious. It has the beautifulest colorings. It's very distinct 2 colorings that have just kind of merged together. But it's a very, very, very beautiful cat, and it's very feisty. You can tell he's feral or wild. So yeah, there's that. Harriet says, which Aussie office is the best? And we'll just say Sydney, because that's the city that I know the most in Australia. So, yay, Sydney office! Office of the month. We should do an office of the month. That would be nice. My plan is to visit Australia in 2018, just because I've been there once, but I'd like to go again and practice all my Aussie lingo that I've been learning over the months. So Sarah, my German friend who I met in Tanzania and is in America going to school for social work, she asked, have I learned how to cook local food? I did, or I am, present tense. So one of the trips we went on, I got to help in the local ladies. So all the trips we take, the locals cook the afternoon lunch. They prepare it, it's all local food, and it's so incredibly good. It's curry, and I was helping make a huge giant pot. I posted a picture back in maybe September of me like stirring a pot. There's like smoke going in my eyes because I wasn't doing a good job. Oh, and I tried chopping the food with them, and they were like, you're doing it wrong. So I got some more. But it's curries, it's stir fries, it's rice, things like that. I'm still working on making better rice, but I'm not very good at it yet, so I got to work on it. Yeah. Do you like to cook local food, and what do you like to cook? Oh, I like to cook greens, bok choy. That's really easy. Basically, for one meal, you take ramen noodles and you stir fry some veggies like carrots, bok choy, onions, and then you drain all the juice out of the noodles and you fry it all up together and eat it. Real yummy. Any culture shock, Andrea asks. There's bits of culture shock, yeah. It's similar to a developing country in places I've lived before, but it's not the same all around. I think when you're reminded of or confronted with the sex industry here, it's incredibly sobering and just like earth-shattering, essentially. When you come from the airport to our neighborhood, you drive past all the brothels. They're called KTVs, which is like a karaoke thing. So some bars are just fun karaoke, but then others are brothels. And you drive past them, and it's literally a red light district, like the lights are red. And there's women sitting out front. And it's just really heartbreaking to see that. So that was a bit of a culture shock for me, coming from America. Other things have been hard, trying to figure out how to work with the culture and how to teach it because it's different. So like when I did the in-service yesterday, I am very animated and I'm very American and then some. And so when I'm teaching, I'm like blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, so any questions? And this is how they are. And then I'm like, okay, then anybody remember the first thing I said? And so it's kind of hard getting used to that bit. And you're just like, all right, so anybody gonna give me a response? But that's because the cultures are different and I have to get used to that. And then it takes longer to gain the trust of someone that you don't know. And plus I'm a foreigner, so it just takes a while. So that's kind of a cultural shock bit. Karen, yes, I do know Ann Stickle. She works for ADRA, and I go to her house very frequently after church. She's super invites me over for lunch along with some other Westerners most every time that I go to church, which is nice because who doesn't like a free meal? So I do know her. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments because apparently my coworkers are not working right now and they are watching this. And so they're just making funny comments about which office I picked as my favorite because I picked the Sydney office and not Perth and not Brisbane. Well, look, guys, whoever sends me the most Tim Tams will win the next office of the month. Because I just discovered the beauty of a Tim Tam in a cup of coffee. You dip it in, you bite each end off, suck the coffee through it so it gets all warm and gushy, and then you eat it. Ugh. Apparently it's called a Tim Tam Slam, and it is a game changer. Let me tell you, game changer. Good. Maria asked a really good question. She says, how can we best help you to fulfill what you hope to accomplish? So I'm hoping to empower local teachers to change the way that they teach so it's a more well-rounded way. Because what they do typically is just repetition, 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 repetition. So they're just going to be chanting and repeating the alphabet, chanting and repeating the times tables, which, yes, there's some merit to repetition, but not always and not all the time. Because the problem is they're not learning critical thinking. They're not learning to problem solve, to think for themselves. And my favorite quote on education is that we do not make mere reflectors of men's thoughts, but we teach them to think for themselves. It's a paraphrase, but anyways, it's a good quote. And so I'm wanting to help these teachers do that. One of the ways that I need to do it is by being here long term. And so, yeah, like what Heather said, I do need some financial supporting. And so I've been supported for this current year. And the plan plans are that I will get to go move into the next phase of working for RA, and they will then help me get with a stipend, so then I won't be having to pay as much to live here, because there's such a new organization, 3.5 years that they've been around, that they don't have the funding to hire thousands of people. They're not World Vision, they're not Address, so they need financial support. So donating to RA for specific, through their organization to donate, to give to me, or for helping with salary, that helps. Also, because they will be giving me a small stipend, I'll still have other expenses. Like, I really am wanting to pay off my student loans. That's the only thing that I have financially that is a burden to me, and I'm almost done. I have just a little bit more left to pay on it, and then I will be free and be able to live and move and make as much money as I need to stay alive. So it's not very much, because you can eat fairly cheap here. So that's the big thing to help me be able to do my job that you guys can do, is financially support me, which is the same way that I put out last year, either directly through me, so I get the full amount, or through GoFundMe, which is an online thing, but then I lose a couple percents on that. Or if you need tax deductible, you can do it through the umbrella organization that RA is underneath, that has its 501c3, which is nonprofit status in America. So the best way, honestly, is to send it directly to me. I can give you my bank account information, and that just means I get all of it. And every little bit helps. Every little bit keeps me here a month longer. And some of the things I do use the money for is I like to host parties for the other expats. So I like to, buy pancakes and have a pancake brunch. And so when you give money, it helps not only keep me afloat, but it also helps spread the love. And my biggest thing that I like to do is, I'm the only American currently. Hopefully we'll get some more Americans volunteering, but I love to do Thanksgiving. So I definitely spend a little bit more money during Thanksgiving, so I can have a nice Thanksgiving feast with everyone. But yeah, if you're interested in getting my banking information sort of thing to help support directly, just private message me. If you want the GoFundMe information, I'll repost that bit, and you can see it again as well. Or you can go to Raw Impact and click Donate Now. But the thing with that, it goes into the bigger fund, and it doesn't necessarily go directly to me. So there's that to remember. Yes, if you donate, you will get some free Tim Tams. When I go to Australia, I will buy you a Tim Tam, or you can shout me a Tim Tam, which means spot me a Tim Tam. Anyways, yes, you'll get free Tim Tams, or you can get a free, I'll buy you a cup holder. If we get a RA cup holder, I'll buy you one of those. Or what else is really cool? We have really cool kramas, which is like a Khmer scarf that I can get you, because I am able to come back to the States regularly-ish. We close the office for 2 weeks, so I will be back every Christmas, and I can send you a really cool gift then, too. But definitely a Tim Tam. I think you can get them at the World Market, too. So there's that if you don't want to wait. You can get them then. Do they like to eat and learn about your culture? Yes. They do like to eat Western food, and they're in Phnom Penh, there's so much Western stuff, and there's like great organic vegan restaurants, which are my favorite. I love going to, and it's like really granola-y and hippie. So there's a lot of stuff in Phnom Penh that's Western, tailoring to foreigners, but also then tailoring to people who enjoy eating Western food. And I think they do enjoy learning about our culture. It's a nice exchange that we have, especially like with the people in the office. We're constantly sharing cultural tidbits about it, and I loved sharing Thanksgiving with everyone. Like, that was probably my favorite anything that I've had happen this year. I had 30 people maybe, so it was all of our office staff and their spouses, Khmer and Australian. Everyone came together, and me being me was like, all right, everybody has to make a list of 5 things you're thankful for. And so we all made a big giant list of things we were thankful for and then shared it. But yeah, so I think they like learning about our culture, just like I like learning about theirs and understanding each other better. So yeah. Let's see, what else can I tell you about? Oh, I get around on a push bike, on a bicycle. It's green, has a basket. I call her Gertie the Slug. I just had to replace her tire this last week, which was a pain. But I got to meet Grandma Bike Lady, and she's really cool. She's like a grandma age, but she's the one who changes the tires, fixes the tires, does all of that stuff. So I get around on my bicycle. I'll ride my bicycle to church, which is like a half-hour away. It's like 9 miles round trip. I go to the office on it, which is about a mile away. Even when we all go out to Riverfront, which is a couple of miles away, I still ride my bicycle. It's way fun. I have a basket. It's got a really bad, like, kind of bell. So that's cool. I am going to be getting a motorbike at like the end of next month in March. No, what month is it? April, March, April, May. The end of May, beginning of June. I'm going to be getting a motorbike, dirt bike, moped, whatever. And that's so I can use it to go out to the villages, to the school, because that's how we get around out there. And Raw has a bike, Raw Impact has a bike that they're letting me use, which is great, but I don't want to always be using their bike, because if I live here long term, I need my own so I can be self-sustaining kind of thing. So that's something I'm going to have to purchase, which is something else that, like, if you want to help purchase a motorbike for me, that would be great. In fact, if you help contribute to a motorbike, I'll write your name on the bike, or I'll name it after you, or something like that. So that's good. And the nice thing is the road out to the village has gotten a lot more smooth because they've redone it. So they've built it up so it's not, because this is a flood country, it floods every rainy season, but they've built it up so, and they've asphalted it and gravelled it. So it's really nice. So I don't need necessarily a big, giant, like, kind of dirt bike. I just need like a decent, middle-sized dirt bike or bike. So that's what I'm going to get. I've asked my friend Durat to help me figure out one to get. I love Durat and his wife Dani. She's the social worker, and Durat is head of media. Because anytime I need to purchase something, I'm like, Dani, I need some jeans, but I have hips. I have Western-sized hips. And so she's like, oh, I know exactly where to take you. So her and her family, her husband and their little boy Larry, who's so cute, he's my favorite. They took me to a market where I could get jeans for like $2. It was crazy buying those jeans because you're in a market, so you're heaps, like small aisles, enough for 2 people maybe, and there's like clothes hanging over and jeans, and I was wearing some shorts, and I had to try the jeans on over my shorts. It was the weirdest trying on experience ever. And it's really hot in there, and so like you're sweating and like jumping up and down trying to get the jeans on, and they're like skinny jeans, and you're like, oh, and then you have to put them on over your jeans. So it's crazy. Ooh, hi Abby! Abby lived here with me when I first got here, or she was here when I first got here. And now she's in like the boonies of Australia, and I can't wait to visit her. A Vespa. So I did see like a 1965 Vespa, like refurbished, that was beautiful. But I think I need something a little bit more like durable than a Vespa. Like, I don't know what they're called, but they're a little bit bigger and they go a little bit faster. So I'm gonna get one of those, hopefully, eventually. And they, yeah, I don't know pricing on it. It just depends on, I don't know, it depends on lots. So, let's see, I told you. So, those are fun. That's how people get around here. And it's a motorcycle pulling a covered trailer thing. So it's like a rickshaw, but not, because it's motorcycle powered. and they're real fun. You can fit 4 people in them comfortably, but I've seen heaps of people crammed into them. I put all my luggage in it when I go to and from the airport, and I'm just like, my feet are on top of stuff. He's like, ooh, hanging out. Wow, 45 minutes. This is a long Facebook Live. So let's see. We'll wrap it up in 5 minutes and even 50. Let's see what else. So, reminders. Let's go over reminders. Check out EPM 2.0. That's how you can get to know the families we work with directly, and you can help sponsor them you can help sponsor a family, which will then cover helping them with education and helping them with housing and things like that, and learn, because we're starting a debt rescue program, so they'll go through like a training type thing, and we'll be walking side by side with them, helping them with their debt. So check out EPM 2.0, check out the One Project, and come on a mission trip, a service trip, in July. You will not regret it. I guarantee it. And if you come in July with the One Project, I will personally buy you the biggest smoothie and the coolest present, and I don't know, I'll do some other really cool stuff. So come, check out the One Project in July and join us for that. And then the other thing to check out is Raw Impact on the Facebook page. Just follow it and you'll get the updates, you'll get the notices and things like that. The tiles behind me, this is my things I'm thankful for. I started it when I first moved here. I am thankful for blah, blah, blah. And everyone adds to it. So when people come over, they add to it, or when there's something that I'm thankful for, I add to it. Like Christmas, Moga. Moga is Monday night yoga. We call it Moga. Yeah, so there's just different things that we have. And then I had a Korean friend come, and he translated some of them. That's nice. Ooh, flowers. I buy flowers all the time at the market on Fridays just to have something nice, because they're $1 for like a bunch of them. Although for my birthday last weekend, happy birthday to me, I bought some lilies and the whole apartment smelled so good all weekend. Best investment of $7 ever. Popcorn, gotta love popcorn. And pho, that's some good soup. Yeah, different things like that. So that's what the wall is behind. Oh, and if you come visit, you can put something on the wall of gratefulness, because if I'm here long enough, which I probably will be, I want to cover the entire wall. I'll just show you a little bit more. See? That's my calendar, because I'm a nerd. Yeah, cover the whole wall. Wouldn't that be so cool? It would just be a lot of very grateful things. So, yes. Hi, Jiffer. She commented in. Always so stinking creative. Let's see. Anything else? Oh, another thing. Asking. Well, no, I won't share that bit. Oh, something else you can check out is my blog. That'll be another way that you can just follow along with things that are happening, because I don't always post my blog posts on Facebook. I do most of them, but not all of them. And you can follow along, so you can sign up for it. Go to lasagna.blogspot.com. Lasagna.blogspot.com. And then you can follow along. So there's a spot on the side where you can subscribe, and then it'll just email you the updates. That's what my mom and dad do. And that's right, I just said mom, not mom. So my mom and dad follow along. That way you just go straight to their email, and they don't have to worry about checking every now and then. Because I'm not super consistent like I used to be, but I work on it. So, yeah, that's it. If there's no other questions, I can sign off for now. Let me know if you like this. If you're watching it later and it's not live, that's